Hello, thank you and welcome to this tutorial. So this video is mainly for beginners who are trying to understand HTML and CSS. But then if you also some advanced guy or intermediate, you may still find this quite useful. So in this video we are mainly going to focus on the structure of HTML and CSS. I talked to a couple of buddies of mine, and a guy confessed that he still does not understand CSS, that he just stares at the code after maybe he's generated it using some AI, and he cannot make any sense out of it. So this video is for you who stares at HTML pages and you're wondering, what are these things? You see lots of these and then you're simply staring and wondering what they are. So first of all, you want to find a text editor or something that can allow you to write these things. So I'm simply going to delete all these things. Okay, I'm going to simply delete all of them. So first of all, you want to go and save your file, the name and the extension HTML. So for me, I've saved it tutorial.html. After doing that, you save it and you start writing. So the good thing about CSS and HTML is that you do not need any fancy text editor. You can use the notepad if you are on Windows, and for me, I'm using my little computer here, a Chromebook, and it comes with a text editor called Text. That is what I'm going to be using for this video. So I'm not going to use any fancy, but if you like fancy, you can also go and download PyCharm or Vimo, Sublime Text, or Visual Studio Code. Any other text editor that you can find out there in the market is at your disposal. Anyway, let's dive into this tutorial. So first of all, we have something called a tag. These are what give the HTML page a structure. So the first tag that we are going to use here is HTML itself. We are going to put the less than sign and then say HTML and then close it. Okay, that is how HTML is done. So once you write your tag, less than, and then the tag, and then the tag name, and then you close it, and then at the very end, after writing content, you are going to put a slash, a name, and close, just like we did here. So the first tag you want to have is HTML itself. Okay, and then we are going to have the head. So in the head, what goes in the head? The first thing that go there is the title. Okay, the title. You want to have the title. We are going to call this one tutorial 1. So you may confuse the title and the heading and the head, because in HTML we have H1, H2, H3, which are titles or things used to write titles. But this particular title we are talking about here is the name of this document. Okay, whenever we pass this to a browser, at the browser URL, it's going to show this name. Okay, now let's move. Next thing you need here are the styles. So we are going to use the tag style. Now this is the CSS. This is where we are going to write our CSS styles. We are going to write them here, and we are going to see that in a moment. The next thing you could put here is something called a link. Okay, a link. Now remember, the link does not take the second part, so don't do something like this. Don't write another link here like this. No, it ends at that point. A link. Now that links our HTML file to external resources, maybe images or style sheets or scripts, anything external that you want to have a part in your file. You are going to use this tag, okay, this tag. Now in this lesson we are not going to use any external resources, so we are going to leave it blank. The next thing that could go here is a script. Okay, a script. Now this mainly is JavaScript. You want to add controls to your buttons, you want to, the user to have a smooth experience, like animations and everything. You may use a script, JavaScript in this case. So I think the script could also contain other scripting languages like PHP, Python, and any other script, but HTML mainly focuses on JavaScript. Now the script tag could be in any other part of your HTML document, okay, including the head. The only thing that cannot go anywhere else other than the head is the style. You cannot put the styles any other place except in the head. Remember that, guys. I remember earlier on, a few years ago, whenever I had found some CSS styles somewhere, I'd simply randomly paste them into my HTML document without even looking at where I was pasting them. Now later on, I came to realize that they only go into the head. If you paste them somewhere else, they are not going to reflect into your document. So remember that. Now let's move on. I think we are done with the head for now. The other things that go, there are so many things that would go in the head, but for now we are going to focus on these because these, I think, in my opinion, are the most important ones. So the next thing we are going to have is the body. Now in the body, this is where your main content is going to be, assuming you're writing an article, okay? So the title of your article, the paragraphs of your article, they're going to be found in the body, not the head. They're going to be found in the body. So in our case, we are going to design a simple login page in this tutorial to explain some of these things. Alright, the next thing we are going to have here is something called a div. Okay, now a div is a generic partitioning tool in HTML. It is used to divide the page into many sections. Okay, think of this like I don't want you to think of it as a box really, but assuming you had a house, okay, and then you had a partition for the bedroom, the living room, the kitchen, the bathroom. So you will have the main house. The main house, we would call it the body, okay, and then these are the partitions. You could use a div, okay, to partition the house, okay, into living room, into the kitchen, the bathroom, any other partition. So think of it like that. Okay, so suppose this is a page, and then you want some things to go in this other side, others to be here at the center, others here at the center here, but you want to separate them. Okay, you do not want to just randomly place them. You have to organize them. So whenever you want to organize them, you use this one. So remember, you can use multiple divs. In fact, if you look at many HTML pages, I think this is the most used tag that you're going to see, the most used tag. But the other tags, many tags that HTML has, in fact in HTML5 there are the many tags that have been introduced to partition or to separate or to divide the page, like a side, there is a right, left, there is main, there are a lot of these things, a span, okay, there are a lot of them, but the div can't do all the things that they do, okay, so it's the generic one, so we are going to focus on it for now. So in this division we are going to call it class equal main. Okay, now I think we have introduced a new thing, the class. Okay, the class. Now class is used to identify this div. Okay, yeah, we could use an ID instead of class to also identify it, but remember, different elements could belong to the same class, but only one element. IDs are unique to elements, but then classes could belong to so many. In fact, even this one could have multiple classes. It could be main, top, main, bottom, main, whatever. Okay, so we are going to have that, and then in this one we are going to have another div. Okay, we are going to have another div, and we are going to say it's class login page, login page. So remember that whenever you want to assign multiple classes to elements, you separate them using space. So like this one is a 2-word. Okay, so if I did not put this hyphen here, that I simply used space, HTML would interpret that as two different classes. That would be class login and class page. So you have to use a separator, or you simply do not put any spaces or underscores or any other thing you can think of. Then in this one we are going to have a form. Okay, we are going to have a form. Now in this form we are going to have a label. Okay, and this label is going to be username. Then we are going to have an input, and then we are going to have another label. This label this time is going to be password, and then we are going to have another input for the password, input. So remember, input also does not take the other part of this, you know, this other part, simply this part, yeah. So I think we can have something called anchor tag, anchor. Okay, and then we are going to say forgot password, and for now, to avoid any interruption while clicking the link, we're going to say href equals, then put an hash there. So we've introduced a lot of more new things. The label, this simply labels the input as username. Okay, this one is the text area where the user is going to key in some text. It's the input, and this one is a link. not similar to the link that we saw up here, but this link also refers the user to an external page or file. Like in this case, we want the user to reset their password. Okay, so we are giving them this link. So I think we are done structuring. I think, or maybe we could add something h1 here, h1 of class form title, class form title, okay, class form title, and then we are going to say login. This one is login. I think we also, is there anything? Let's just say it's user login. We're going to leave it like that and then see how it looks. So let's just go ahead and save it, and then we are going to go to our files here and see. This is it. We are going to double click it to open it. Now this is it, guys. This is how the page looks. So we are going to style it. What we are going to do is to take this to the center somewhere here. We are going to display these ones side by side, but really we are going to display them at the bottom of each other, everything. So first of all, we are going to come to our style here, where we are going to be putting our styles. And remember, CSS has a very simple structure. You state the element that you're going to style, curly brackets, and then you give it the attribute and then the value. Let me show you what I mean. Suppose we want to style the body. Okay, you're going to say body. You don't have to enter, but you can just put them here. We're going to say body, and then we are going to give the body a background. Okay, a background. You're going to give it a color key, like this one. You can give it any color. You can say blue, white, or you can use color coding, this one. And then the next element that we are going to style is you're going to style main. So you put a full stop and then the word when it comes to classes. Okay, when it comes to classes, if you want to style a class element, you put a full stop, the name, and then the styles. So what we are going to do first of all is to give this main a width. We are going to say it should be 30. Oh yeah, 30 rem. You could use pixels, but I like one. I don't know how. I don't know the exact measurement it is, but I just found myself using it. And then the height, let's give it like 25. Yeah, 25 rem. And then we're going to give it a background of white. Okay, background of white. And then we are going to give it a border of none, okay, but then we are going to give it a border radius, something called border radius of 5 pixels. Okay, so these things, how to know what to use, like the weight, the height, the background, the border radius. You can just, if you are interested in learning these things, I do have a book that is very useful that actually outlines almost every every attribute that you can use to style your documents. So if you're interested in the book, you can just give me a comment and I will send you the book. I can email you the book, or I can give you a link to go and download the book. Or you can just search online for books about HTML and CSS, and then you will master all these things. Frankly, even me, I haven't mastered all these things, but whenever I want to use a particular property, I simply Google that property, okay, and then use it. Okay, so far so good. We styled the main, we've given this one, this one, this one, and I think the body also. No, first of all, before we go to the body, we are going to give this a position of relative, okay, relative, and then we are going to give it a margin left. We want it from the left to be 50%, okay, 50% from the left, and then we are going to transform it, okay, translate x, give it negative 50%, negative 50%. What this does is to center this. What these two are doing here is to center this div, okay, by moving it to the left 50% and then translating it 50%, half 50% of this, of its size, okay, so that it's perfectly at the center. So I like to use this combination to center things, okay, I like to use it to center things. So I think in the main we did have okay, I think we do not have any other thing to style there for now. So let's style another thing, login page, okay. The login page also, you're going to give it a height and a width. So we start with width of 50, give it a width of like 100% and the height of the same, height of 100%, I mean, and I think we forgot about these little semicolons. So after that, I also want to center it, so this time you're going to use position absolute, position absolute. So the difference between position absolute and position relative is that position relative is placing the element in relation to the parent, okay, but absolute is going to put it in the exact position that you've stated. So we are still going to center it like we did. We are going to say, instead of saying margin left, this time we are simply going to say left is 50%, okay, and then transform and then translate x, then we say negative 50%. Okay, and then done. And then what else? I think that is that for now. Let's style the form. The form, we're just saying form because that is a known tag. We don't use any full stop or hashes. In the form, what mainly we are going to do is say display flex. So what display flex do is to display all the elements side by side, but we want them to be in a column form. So we are going to say flex direction, column. Okay, and then what else? We want to center the elements, but we are going to do that in a moment. Let me just style the input. So what we are going to do here is to remove the borders. Actually, we are going to give them borders. We are going to say border is 2 pixels, solid, and then blue. Let's do blue. Then we are going to say border radius is 5 pixels, like we stated earlier. And then we're going to declare the width and the height. Width we are going to say 3 rem. No, actually width, say width is 50%. Okay, and then the height, let's say height to be 3 rem. Yes, that is the input. Then in the form we are going to say text align. Text align. Okay, text align center. It's going to center any text that is there. I think we're almost done here, guys. We're almost done. In the login page here, we are also going to text align so that H1 is aligned at the center. We are going to say center. Okay, and we are going to style the label and the input. So we are going to combine them and say label and input, and then we are going to say position relative. Is it, should we use relative or absolute? Let's say relative, man. Relative. Okay, and then margin left, margin left 50%, transform translate x, and then negative 50%. You can just reuse the ones that we are already made up there, but I just like to type it all so that you can also type with me and know these things. A little bit of hand practice is good. Anyway, I think we are done. The only thing that we may style is this one, but I don't see why you need to style it. This link. I think that is it, guys, and let's see how this page now looks like. Okay, let's see how it now looks, and then we are going to end this video. We are going to simply end it, but for now let's see how it now looks. We are going to reload and as you can see, although it seems to have gone a little too much to this side, like it's not at the center. It is not at the center, really. It's not at the center. So probably because we never declared the size of the body. Yeah. So let's declare the size of the body, and we say the body body's width, let's give it like body's width, let's give it like 890 there, or let me just use like 60. I don't know whether 60 rem is too much. Let me see. And the height of 100%, or should we just use percentages? We may simply use percentages and say this 60%. Okay, let's see how that works. See how that works. And then we reload. Okay, it's a little bit to this side. I think it's, what is it, at the center. I think we should also give it a margin top, okay, so that it's somewhere down here. Give it a margin top of like 10 rand, okay. We give it a margin top, okay. Let me see. So we push it a little bit down. It's main, right? And the position was relative. So let's say margin top of like 10 rem. Yes, so that it's not a little too much at the top. There is a lot of noise, background noise around here, so don't mind that, guys. Alright, now we have it there. So I think, thank you so much for watching, guys. Should we change the color of this so that it's okay? Let's do that. That one we are going to use a property called color to change the text color. So I think we have only one H1, so let's just use that and say H1. Actually, I had a class of form title, so let's just use that form title, and we are going to say color. Let's give it a color of blue. So you see how very easy we are doing these things, okay? You see how very easy they are. And then we reload. Oh, that one did not work. Why? Did we get there? Okay, we did not get the classified. We had a nice one. So let's do that and save and reload. I think when we reload, it should be blue. Alright, that's it for the video. If you have any questions, you can simply ask. If you want a book about CSS and HTML, you can give me a comment. I'm going to personally send you the book via email. Or if you want a recommendation of where to download some of these books, you can also send me a text or put it in the comments. Thank you so much, guys, for watching.